Student loan payments have been suspended once again by the Biden administration, as they have announced that they are going to push back when people will have to start making payments on their bills yet again. The moratorium started in spring of 2020, of course, with the COVID-19 pandemic, and the plan that President Biden unveiled earlier this year was that in exchange for the $10,000 of student loan forgiveness, more if you got Pell Grants, that they would bring back the payments at the start of 2023. But then we learned that there were these Republican efforts to challenge Biden's executive order to forgive the debt, and two of the lawsuits ended up succeeding, at least for now, putting on halt the Biden debt relief plan and leaving millions of Americans in limbo. The Biden administration is saying that they will resume payments either halfway through 2023 or shortly after the courts ideally allow his executive order to stand. So depending on what the courts decide to do is when you may have to start making payments again, if that type of thing applies to you. Biden is rightfully playing politics with this, of course, saying that if Republicans are going to tie up what he wants to do in the courts, he's going to use his power to make sure that at least for now, people with student loans are benefiting from his presidency. It would also be kind of strange, unfair, if someone who has, let's say, $9,000 worth of student loan debt all of a sudden has to start making payments on that balance again, even though they thought that they wouldn't have to pay it at all. They thought it was all going to get forgiven, and now they still don't even know if it's going to ultimately get forgiven. As I mentioned, there are two cases holding up the debt relief. The first came to us on November 10th after a right-wing federal judge in Texas put a halt on the debt relief plan because they were going to hear out the case of two borrowers who didn't qualify for the debt relief. The plaintiffs were, of course, backed by conservative groups. And then shortly after that, we heard from the U.S. Court of Appeals in Missouri. They granted an injunction by 6 red states against the debt relief plan. That one has to do with whether Biden has the authority to do this as president or if he needs congressional approval. And I gotta say, it pains me to say this, but there is a good chance, at least a decent chance, that the courts will end up striking this down outright, because the legal justification that Biden is using to forgive the debt is kind of on shaky grounds. Like, the basis is the 2003 HEROES Act, which allows the education department leeway for rules surrounding student loans if there's a war or national emergency. In this case, the national emergency is being cited as COVID-19, which no doubt would have been successful maybe back in 2020, 2021 during the worst parts of the pandemic. But the courts, and especially these right-wing courts, may say that, okay, well, we're beyond COVID as an emergency. It's one thing to have a pause on payments during a crisis, especially when people can't work. It's a different thing altogether to forgive debt going forward, and so you really need Congress to pass this. The president can't do this on their own. There's also the question about whether this will hurt Republicans if they're able to torpedo this thing, because you may imagine that there are going to be plenty of Republican constituents who would stand to benefit from student loan forgiveness. Maybe they'll look the other way. Maybe they'll say that they didn't want it in the first place and it was unfair or whatever. That type of thing happens. You never know with these Republican constituents. It's also a long time before they have to vote again. It's not going to be another 2 years before the 2024 election, so maybe there won't be any sort of consequences. But hopefully it doesn't come to that. Hopefully this debt relief plan is going to be able to stand up, because $10,000 up to $20,000, that can really do a lot of good for a lot of people. But let me know what you think. Will this be allowed to stand up? And if it is struck down, will Republicans have to pay a political price for it?